Thanks, Gregor. Hey, Paul. Your team's been really good at being able to heighten their game coming off losses and really kind of focusing in on that and knowing they need to take a step up. After losing back to back, and not just that, but the standings kind of tightening the way they have, does tonight's game feel any more heightened than any of those back to back loss or potential back to back loss situations?
Yeah, I think so. Like when you lose a game, you in some ways have the advantage of focus. This is our first time losing two this year, so we know we've been good at being able to kind of rally that focus back. It's not as easy as it sounds, or everybody would do it, and you can't have everybody win every game. So, yeah, what you want to make sure is that there's some confidence and hope that goes with it, right? That you're feeling good when you get to the rink, that you've got that, you've built enough confidence in your game over the season that you come here. You got to find places to manufacture your own energy, your own intensity, because it's not as easy to do as I think maybe in the past. You'd either get home a little bit more often and you get the home crowd behind you, you get the energy from that. You got 2 or 3 days off in between and some losses where you get some rest and things. So you don't get those other places. You gotta find them within. Find that confidence and find that positive feeling so you can get your legs to the right level.
We'll go next to Ken Weeb from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Weaver.
Afternoon, Paul. What will we be looking for with the pairings change tonight?
It's just a matchup thing. I like the way Dylan played a lot in his game, last game against Edmonton, but this is solely due to it's a different pairing with speed in terms of who they play against. That's all.
We'll go next to Paul Friesen from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Paul.
Part or a follow-up on that, Paul. So your pairing choices have nothing to do with trying to get different things out of Josh. And then I'd ask you just about your forward lines. How tempted were you to maybe do some shuffling there? Or what's the next place to go?
Yeah, the deep pairings are. Yeah. So we just love the way Josh played in Toronto in that last game with Dylan. I mean, that was the best game of the year for him by far, and so we let it run, and then we get a different matchup in here tonight. So we're just trying to get those two guys feeling good together, find the right games, the right pairing for them, put them in a position for success. The lines, yeah, I mean, Mark's line's been struggling here for 3 or 4, and I didn't make a change in the last game because, man, I love that the way the Dubois line played, like Pierre was skating and physical. So I just really resist that. The deciding line on all of this is the Winnipeg Jets and the group, right? We got to win games. So if I have to, I will. But if the Dubois line can come out tonight and to look like that, then I'll try to find another way of doing it.
Go next to Murat Atesh from The Athletic. Go ahead, Murat.
Thanks, Gregor. Hi, Paul. There's an NHL.com stat today. Next game, I guess tonight, Paul Stastny plays. He equals his dad. And I'm wondering, from your perspective as a parent, is there any insight into that you can give, or through your knowledge of Paul or Peter, or whatever this makes you kind of think of?
That's just a real good, happy story, right? And you kind of sit back and you get to, you look at a player that you care for and is a really good man, and you just kind of think about how great that must be between father and son, right? You're always so proud of any accomplishment, or even not an accomplishment, any joy that your kids have in the life. You kind of get to participate with that a little bit. They get a new job, they finish a degree, whatever it is. So this is, wow, what a great thing for a father and son to share. And then there'll always be that special pride the next night, right? When the son surpasses the father. They'll joke around about it, I'm sure, at the table, that there might be some stats that favor the father over the son, but I'm sure that there's a tremendous amount of pride by his dad, and rightfully so.
Go next to Kelly Moore from CJOB. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hey, good afternoon, Paul. Just to go back to Blake and Paul and Mark, with a little bit of frustration that Blake showed on the ice the other night in Edmonton, and that, as a coach, do you take a look at that? And you've just said, you don't really want to disrupt too much, but do you take a look at the reaction there? And does that maybe skew a little bit different on how you'll form the matchups for tonight's game? With a line that take take away too much from the responsibility that they would normally have either.
Right. So it'll be different because you're on the road and they'll look for them, right? In the past, this year's a different match. They're running a different match this year than the past. But in the past, it was always Horvat on Scheif in Vancouver. And I've gotten, not in the last 4, but probably this year with the emergence of Pierre-Luc, now we've got another centerman. I've gotten away from some of the heavier matches that we did on the road. I don't worry about it nearly as much. It's more of a deep pairing thing. Just try to get them out. All you do with all your lines is you're trying to put them in a position where you think they can succeed. So wouldn't come to the rink most nights wondering, what I got to do with Mark's line to get them to be successful. They play against the other team's best, or if you're on the road, they find them with either their best or their checking line. So, and the other part of the story is I'm not worried about Scheif's line, like long-term at all. Right. It might be a 2 or 3 game blip here that they've had. So I'm not worried about, but I am excited about Dubois' line. So that actually has a bigger impact on me not making a change in the lines. And it might happen 10 minutes into this game, right? If we get out there and you don't like what you see and the match isn't what you want, then you may end up doing it anyway. But I don't want to lose the forward motion that we've got with Dubois' line right now, unless I absolutely feel I need to.
We'll go next to Joe Smith from The Athletic. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, Paul, I know it can be kind of a volatile industry in the NHL coaching world where even like cup-winning coaches get let go at some certain point. And I was just wondering, I know you don't know how much you know John Cooper at all in terms of 8th anniversary of his hiring come up pretty soon. And I was wondering, what is the key to longevity in this business? And I don't know, is it kind of a good example of a team sticking with the guy after maybe some playoff losses and then seeing the ultimate reward at the end? I wasn't sure what your perspective is on this thing.
I think you have to fit with your group. I think that's the most important thing. So your style and your how you handle the group, every team is different. So you'll get a coach that just fits right with that group and you can run those guys longer, right? The other part is I don't think there's anybody in the NHL anymore that has a set of beliefs and rules, not so much beliefs, but they believe that the game never changes. And so we're just going to do this, right? No matter what. And then, you go on your season-long runs where, your team has changed, but your ideas haven't changed. So it doesn't work anymore. I think that the ability to adapt and evolve and to change with your players and change with the time, that just comes from really, really being interested in the game of hockey, right? That you're watching lots of hockey and that you're picking up on the changes and that you're really interested in it. And your focus isn't just on what's going on with your team. If you have that kind of network of people that you talk to all the time, what's new, what's going on, what's changing, then you can kind of stay in that mental environment where you think about, boy, even over 5 years here, how much you're different in terms of how you handle your team, how you think about the game. I think people that are interested in the game evolve faster, and that's really important in staying in one place a long time.
And final question to Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Sean.
Thanks, Gregor. Paul, you talked about, those moments, especially this year, where it's tricky to manufacture confidence. Paul Stastny looks like a guy to me that you never have to manufacture confidence for him. He is always so sure and was talking tonight about, he thinks the top line's doing good things and going to get back to that. How much easier does it make your job that you've got a guy like that kind of takes care of his own house like that? And what effect can he have on the team with that in that same regard?
Well, he can be, and you got all 3 guys on that line got an awful lot of experience, but certainly he and Blake have been through and seen, we're talking about 2 or 3 games here, and these guys have been pretty darn good for us all year. So that's steadying hand. So it keeps the message consistent, right? They're not on the bench, not talking to each other, or they know what's going on. They know how they're playing. They know where the mistakes have been made. And so it allows you, it's faith by the coach. You have faith that things will get a little bit better. And even if I made the change on the lines tonight, I'm not saying I wouldn't go right back to where we were for the next game. So you're in good shape there with those guys, knowing how they're playing, being aware of it, not blaming anybody else, and also knowing that they're just not that far off from being right on and maybe better than they've ever been because a part of what's going on with these guys is now they're almost under puck so much that they're trying to be good examples, and it's not going about. There's a bunch of things that aren't working, but they're not that far from having it all click into place, and away they go.